been joined by Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood. As we said, the Scarlet Knights are 2-1 overall. Last week, Rutgers beat Eastern Michigan 28-10 on Saturday. This week, Rutgers at home at High Point Solutions Stadium against Arkansas for a 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time start on ESPN. And as we mentioned, wide receiver Kuran Pratt is named the Special Teams Player of the Week in the conference. Running back Paul James and linebacker Steve Longa named to our weekly honor roll. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call today. If you could take a minute to tie up the win against Eastern Michigan, and then tell us what you're looking forward to back at home against Arkansas on Saturday, please.
Very pleased with the win on Saturday. Very physical football team. Coach English is doing an excellent job there. They play very physical defense. They do a nice job on offense. And for us, it was, as I said, a very physical football game. We were able to run the ball and stop the run. I think that's really where it begins for our football program. So we were pleased that we were able to do that. And in special teams, we were able to score. Karan Pratt, I think, was the player of the week for the conference in special teams. Did a great job stepping in for Jeremy Deering and on a well-blocked kickoff return. Was able to take it the distance. And I think anytime you can score on defense or special teams, it certainly gives you an advantage in terms of winning the football game. And now this week, as we return to Arkansas, it's an exciting week for our program. The first time an SEC football team will make the trip to Piscataway to play in High Point Solutions Stadium. So it's a historic event from that standpoint, but it'll be a great challenge for us to play against Coach Balima's team. He has a very tough physical football team. I think that both teams are cut from in the same way, with the same kind of value systems in terms of what they believe in. Questions?
Questions for Coach Kyle Flood, please hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
And our first question comes from Bob Holt with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
How you doing, Bob?
I'm good. Hey, I was wondering if you had any update on Gary Nova's status.
We don't right now. We won't know any more until a little bit later today. Monday is our day off at Rutgers. We practiced yesterday. Gary did not participate. And the next time we'll practice will be tomorrow morning. So we'll have a little bit better idea, I think, by tonight in terms of what direction we'll be able to go in.
How'd you feel Dodd played? And I know he's got, experience from previous seasons. What's your comfort level with him as quarterback? What does he bring to the table for you guys?
Well, I'm very comfortable with Chase in their quarterback. Chase is a proven winner in our program, somebody that's played in big games before. I think he had to probably shake a little bit of rust off. It's been a little while for him, and I would expect he'd be much improved this week.
And obviously Paul James, it seems like he's kind of come out of nowhere at least. If you weren't familiar with Rutgers, just talk about his season and the impact he's had. Has he been a nice surprise?
Yeah, Paul has done an excellent job this year. It really is not a surprise to anybody in the program. He has always flashed some signs of being able to play at a very high level, and now he's done it on a more consistent basis than he ever has. So we're certainly very pleased with the production we're getting from Paul. He's done a good job so far, but I think this week will present the biggest test of the year for us.
I got some more questions, but I'll get back in queue and let somebody else ask something.
Yeah, you're the first one to ask me a question all year. Keep firing away.
Oh, okay.
We do have others in the queue. If we could move on, and Bob, if you want to join the queue at the end, you can feel free. But we do have a couple more in the queue.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get back in queue.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate the thought.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go next to Joey Johnson with Tampa Tribune.
Yeah, Kyle, you mentioned the historic nature of this game for your program, having an SEC team come in for the first time. Being from different regions of the country, I just wonder if you could speak about your impressions of SEC football and why you think that conference has been so dominant in college football for the past 6-7 years.
Yeah, I think for us it's a historic game just by virtue of being the first time. I don't think there's any more significance to it than that. But I do think when it happens, it is something that should be brought up. Certainly, we have a lot of respect for the type of football that they play in the SEC, and from what I understand and what I get to see of it, which is minimal because we're all involved in our own seasons, I see physical football teams, and that was our impression last year when we were getting ready to play Arkansas. We knew it was going to be a physical game, and I think now with Coach Balima at Arkansas, it'll be an even more physical game. You can take it to another level. I do have a little bit of familiarity with Brett and a tremendous amount of respect for him. I think he's one of the best in the business as a head football coach. He's proven that over time, and I think he's done a great job with that Arkansas football program. It appears that he has changed that culture in a very short amount of time, and they value things now that that are different than I think the way they played in the past. And running the football and stopping the run for them appear to be the most important things they do. And at Rutgers, that's where we begin every week, running the football and stopping the run. So it'll be a tremendous test of wills, I think, on Saturday afternoon.
You hear the theory in a lot of sports about dynasties are good. The Yankees, when they were won every year, it's a good thing for the sport. And obviously, the SEC has won several championships in a row. Has it been good for college football, or would it be good for somebody else to knock them off this year or another year?
No, I don't worry about that. Other than being a Yankee fan, I did enjoy the times when the Yankees won. There's no doubt about that. I grew up right in New York. But I think if you ask the other teams in that conference that maybe aren't the ones that have won, if it's good for the sport, I don't know how they would feel about that. But certainly when you're winning, it's good for the teams that are winning. For us, those are all questions that won't have any effect on the game on Saturday. We've got a group of 18 to 22-year-olds getting ready to play a football game, and so does Arkansas. And at 3:30, we get to challenge each other and see who comes out 1-0.
Thanks, Tom.
And we'll go next to Tom Murphy with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Morning, Kyle. You mentioned the values that Bielema has of this program. Now, can you speak specifically to what you've seen from Collins Williams in that run game?
I see a team that's absolutely determined to run the football. And I think when people, this is the only way I could probably equate it. When people ask us why we've been so successful blocking kicks over the years, what I tell them is because when we line up, all 11 players think they're the one that's going to block the kick. And I think when Coach Bielema lines up, all 11 players believe they're going to run the football, and they're determined to do it. And when you have as successful a run game as they do, or as we do, not every run goes for 25, 30, 40 yards. There are going to be some 2s, some 3s, some 4s, and some 5s. But if you are determined and mentally tough enough to continue to run the football through a game, at the end of the game, the results will be there. And I think their numbers speak to that.
Can you talk to what you guys did with the pass game last year, coming to Fayetteville and doing what you did, and do you see any changes in Arkansas's pass defense?
I think they're getting to the quarterback. We've sacked the quarterback 10 times this year. They've sacked the quarterback 9 times, and I think that starts. And this is going to sound redundant, but I believe this. I mean, that starts with stopping the run. When a team is only able to run for 105 yards, like the teams that have played Arkansas have been, or when teams have only been able to run for 60 yards, like they've been against us in a game, you have some off-schedule situations where your defensive lineman can tee it up a little bit, and that makes your pass defense a lot better. The best way to defend a pass is to not let it get off. And I think they've done a good job in pass coverage, but I think it starts with the guys up front in the pass rush.
Thanks, Kyle. Do you anticipate linebacker Merrill playing this week?
I do not anticipate him playing.
Thank you.
And we'll take a follow-up question from Bob Holt with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Coach, you guys lost, I think, 7 players to the NFL draft. Just talk about, losing that amount of talent, and especially on defense, you've had to fill a lot of holes, it looks like.
It does. It creates a void on your team in terms of leadership that I think we had to deal with at a very early stage of the offseason. 5 of the 7 were defensive players. 4 of the 5 players in our secondary from last year have moved on to the NFL. And, we're very proud of that. But at the same time, we've got some younger guys who've had to fill in. We've got some other guys who had to step up. And guys like Jamil Morrell, guys like Marcus Thompson up front for us have really led the charge and done a good job so far.
Yeah, it looks like Thompson has 3 or 4 sacks. Just talk about his impact, and Long, I guess, is leading you in tackles. You talk about those guys a little bit.
Long is a redshirt freshman, middle linebacker, somebody we have very high expectations for. He's still learning how to play. He's been very productive. I think the way our defense is structured, certain players are going to have opportunities, more so than others, and that middle linebacker position is one of them, and he's taken advantage of it by making the tackles. Marcus Thompson is one of the great stories in our program. He was a high school tailback and really found a home playing defensive end for us last year and has done a tremendous job, and one of the more explosive players in our program.
I guess just through 3 games, I mean, you've already, you had a tough road game at Fresno and then a couple home games. Just how do you feel about where you guys are right now through 3 games? Just how do you feel about the progress?
Yeah, I think we're making progress. I think this game will give us the best snapshot of where we are as a football team. I think we're going to be, we certainly were challenged in some very specific ways against Fresno State with the quality of their quarterback and their receivers. I think as a football team, we're going to be challenged in every area this week by Arkansas.
And I read where James was a walk-on. Is he on scholarship yet?
He certainly is. He is on scholarship now, but he was a walk-on.
Okay. And is there an extra level of excitement with the students or the campus with an SEC team coming in?
I think the quality of the opponent always raises the excitement level on campus, and a 3-0 Arkansas football team from a great conference, there's no doubt that will have an excited student body this week.
And you said you had a level of familiarity with Brett. How do you guys know each other?
I got a chance to meet Brett. He was one of the first head coaches that I met last year after becoming the head coach at Rutgers. And we had a mutual acquaintance, somebody who worked on my staff last year. And he was very kind to me. And we had about a 2-hour conversation about a lot of different topics. And I appreciated his openness and willingness to speak to me at that time. And certainly I was impressed by everything he had to say. It doesn't surprise me at all, the success he's had at Wisconsin or the success he's having right now at Arkansas.
You know, Arkansas had to replace their star last week, Brandon Allen. We're really not sure his status. What's your thoughts on Arkansas's quarterback situation? How you thought Derby, their backup, played, and kind of how does that affect your prep this week with that being a little uncertain?
You know, I don't think the personality of the offense is going to change much in Arkansas with Derby in there. Yeah, they only asked him to attempt 6 passes in the game last week, so I don't know if we've got a great body of work really to assess what he can do, but I think without whichever quarterback it is, I know they're going to have somebody back there that can operate with the offense and do what they ask him to do, and we're going to have to defend the whole field, but it's certainly going to start with defending the run.
Okay, I can ask this more, but I'll get back in queue if somebody else wants to.
We actually do have to move along to the next coach. We
okay.
Thank,
well, hey, Coach, thanks a lot for your time today.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Coach, thanks for your time. We'll look forward to talking to you next Monday.
Take care.
Rutgers coach Kyle Flood. The Scarlet Knights taking on Arkansas, High Point Solutions Stadium, 3:30 on ESPN.